So welcome, thank you very much for coming. It's quite a crowd, Liz. Yeah.
Thought you'd all be wanting to go home and
Good. So my name's Jeanette Dallas and I'm just here to facilitate the session for this team of lovely nurses here. So we've got Liz Manning, Jill Wilkinson and Kristina Hoeppner. So Liz is a fellow and board member of the College of Nurses. Part of her role is to manage the Nurseportfolio.nz. So Liz has many years' experience with portfolios from PDRP through to recertification audits and nurse practitioner portfolios. Jill has worked in nursing education for over 20 years at both undergrad and postgrad level. So she is the Associate Head of the School of Nursing and Director of Postgrad Programs at Massey University. As well as providing supervision to masterate and doctoral students, her research interests, teaching responsibilities and professional involvement are connected to advanced nursing roles and safe prescribing practice. Kristina is the project lead and community facilitator for the Mahara Eportfolio project, working out of Wellington at Catalyst. She has been involved in Eportfolio work since 2008, and since 2010 she's been working as a member of the core development team for Mahara at Catalyst, supporting institutions around the world and implementing electronic portfolios. So welcome, and today they're going to be talking about nursing portfolios. Thanks very much.
no big surprise
No.
there. Okay. Thank you all for coming. That's fantastic turnout, considering it's the last session. And this presentation, we're going to outline how the creative use of technology can transform and demystify the process of nursing portfolio development. And I'm sure wherever you work, you've heard nurses worrying about their portfolios from one degree to another. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today and use a specific example. What am I? You can do that. Thank you, Kristina. Okay, so this is a collaborative project, and as you've already heard, we've got Jill Wilkinson from Massey University, who is currently running an MP student training programme, which is the subject of what we're going to talk about today. There's me in the middle, I'm just there, and Kristina, who is one of the cleverest people on all this stuff you will ever wish to meet. Okay. So what we're going to talk today about is a little bit about the background, about how this all came together, and how it all started. And some of you will already be aware of that, but we'll go through a little bit. We're going to talk also about the current situation, what the college is doing, and how it all kind of works. And then we're going to use our specific example of Massey University NP students institution using this ePortfolio option to submit their portfolios to Nursing Council for approval for nurse practitioner registration. Thank you. So before we just start on this little bit, I just want to say, if any of you aren't college members, we'd love you to be, and do check out our brand new website, and so I'll expect about 40 new registrations on Monday morning. Thank you. That's all done. I've done that now. Okay, so ePortfolio, and some of you may have been familiar, in 2012, now Manakura, the Maori Nursing and Midwifery Workforce Development Programme had the foresight, really, at that stage to start a pilot on electronic portfolios. They could see this was the way of the future, but they didn't want to do it kind of, general and everybody could use it. They were looking specifically at registered nurses at that point, and really married registered nurses at that point. So we started a pilot program in 2012, and I was lucky enough to be the project manager for that at the time. We set up a project team, and that consisted of sector experts in nursing portfolios and PDRP as well. And we had nursing council representation all the way through the pilot. And afterwards, actually, we had a governance group, and that continued into that. So we ran the pilot through 2012, and by 2013 we were thinking, actually this is looking pretty good. We've got completed portfolios, we can actually use this and go somewhere with it. We were specifically using it at that stage for a recertification audit, and that's pretty much all we developed it for at that point. But we launched it formally in June 2013, and at the same time we also won the LearnX award for Best Social Learning Platform in the Australasian LearnX Awards, so we were pretty chuffed about that. So that's a version of the ePortfolio kind of chugged along for a couple of years. And then in 2016, the College of Nurses was approached by Mahara to be able to host ePortfolio because they wanted to split off and host solely Mahara portfolio. So we took over hosting of Nurseportfolio.nz at that point. When we picked up the site, it was basically a pretty plain looking thing and needed a little bit of attention, a little bit of work just to get it all up to date. So we did retheme it. We had just revised our whole website. So we talked to Kristina and we were able to actually develop the Nurseportfolio.nz to look just like our website, and I've got to say it looks nice and clean. So we tested, revised and redesigned. We added more collections, we tidied it all up and made sure that it met our needs. And we launched that formally just this year in February 2017. So one of the things we needed to do, or decided to do, was we made it completely free to all members of the college. So if any of you are members of the college, you do have free access to this resource, no matter what area of nursing you're working in. I did create collections for nurses in all areas of practice, so your clinical management, resource, clinical management, education, etc. all have individual collections set up, ready to be used. We also have organisations who want to join the Nurseportfolio.nz. So what we offer to them is an institutional membership whereby they can have their own site and it is centrally updated, so they don't need to do any of those updates that always come through, and that we provide them with training and administration support. What we've tried to do is make it easy for nurses who are being audited by Nursing Council, who are being recertified by Nursing Council. That was the core business for the Nurseportfolio. What we've done since then with Jill and Kristina is look at something slightly different, which is completely changing the look of the ePortfolio, Nurseportfolio, so that we can use it for nurses who are submitting for Nurse Practitioner or doing a professional development programme, and we can adapt this platform for any of that. So from 2017 onwards, we can basically provide a portfolio created specifically for whatever an organisation wants. I think that's me.
So as Liz already just mentioned, you can use Nurseportfolio for lots of different purposes. So it can be used for recertification, for PDRP, but also with the students for NP. And that's what makes it really rich, because you can create many, many different portfolios. And not just create them, but also use templates. So Liz is the master of setting up templates, so she can certainly help organizations with that. And that really helps the scaffolding of the portfolio work. Oftentimes what we hear is that students or also other practitioners struggle creating portfolios starting with them because they don't know where to start with it. And so instead of sitting in front of a blank, not white page, but kind of a blank canvas, students get a structure in it. So there are instructions there, all the formalities are provided, making it much, much faster and easier for people, of course, to get started with it, because they don't have to worry about all that. And imagine also having 200, 300, 400, 2,000 nurses maybe doing portfolios. Everybody needs to go along the same competencies. You don't want to have them set up all the same words again. So that can all be provided by the environment. And then, of course, it's also important to keep privacy and security. And so Nurseportfolio is initially, any portfolios created on it are private. Nobody can look at them, also not a lecturer, not an assessor. So the students need to share that portfolio, a particular portfolio specifically, with a manager, with an assessor, with colleagues to get feedback, or can also share it with somebody who doesn't have an account. So if you work closely with a nurse in a different DHB and they don't have access to Nurseportfolio, then they can still look at your portfolio and give you feedback, which really also can bring in experts and people from other fields. And some of us do change jobs occasionally. So either you leave your portfolio on Nurseportfolio and can continue with it, if your organization uses it or if you stay a member of the college, or you can also export it and put it into another Mahara site. We also kind of heard a lot of times yesterday and also today kind of mobile learning and going the e-learning way and using multiple devices, kind of having an electronic medical record, which requires having those little devices there. If you're a fan of them and really like working with them, you can use Nurseportfolio via Mahara Mobile. And the neat thing is that it allows you to collect your evidence offline, as well as do your reflections in a journal offline. You don't need to be connected to the internet all the time, which makes it really helpful if you're in a rural setting, don't have Wi-Fi available, or even if you're on a ward where you're not really allowed to connect to the internet, maybe just to your intranet or not connect at all, and just still collect your evidence in a timely fashion rather than having to wait until you're back at a computer or in a cafe. And on top of that, Nurseportfolio is responsive, so you can look at it on any device. You don't need to download anything for that, and can create and arrange your portfolio that way as well. And Nurseportfolio has a number of important links and resources that lead you to good places. You can also set up your resume, and what I always find very important in the portfolio work is that you can also have a community of practice. So you can network with other practitioners across organization boundaries. So we are not just limited to one organization anymore, but you can talk to anybody who is on the site, making it a rich learning environment, because if you're the only nurse in your small hospital doing something, you might have another nurse in an Auckland hospital or in a Wellington hospital kind of trialing same practices, and you can easily connect to them, which you can't do via your learning management system most of the time. So there you have more freedom in it. And we also have a number of help guides, because we know working with technology can sometimes be frustrating. And that's why we have the templates to make it easier, make the entry, lower the barrier of entry. But also have help guides which detail the most important tasks that nurses would have to do and give short, quick step instructions for them to really get you started and not having to call up a helpline all the time. Now, Les already mentioned that Nurseportfolio can have institutions on there. And so what does that actually mean? Well, it's kind of like a big building, and you have little apartments in it. And so every organization, every DHB or healthcare provider can have an apartment within Nurseportfolio. And you can decorate your apartment, so you can adjust settings for your institution to suit your needs. You can put a logo up, you can decide what features to turn on and what features not. And you can also set up your own templates. So while Liz can help with kind of the generic ones for RNs and NP and so on, if your DHB has very specific professional development requirements and wants to have yet another portfolio, that can be set up. You can set up competency frameworks and work with them as well. And so a collection, what we are talking about, is a portfolio that consists of multiple pages that then can be a template or can just be set up manually. And that is kind of like a binder. So you put all your findings into a binder, your reflections, your evidence, and so on. And that is your portfolio. And you can have as many portfolios as you like. So you can have one to apply for another job at a DHB, or you can have one for PDRP, or you can set up a sample one for NP, and so on. It is really up to you, and you really decide with whom you want to share any of your portfolios. And now Jill is going to show us a little bit of what that means at Massey University.
Okay, so I lead the Nurse Practitioner training program at Massey University, and part of the program is, or the reason that we have the program is to streamline the education and the registration and the employment processes. Very often nurses would finish a clinical master's degree and then kind of collapse in a heap, and the idea of having to put together a portfolio, you know, is another year away because they're going to have a break. So built into our final prescribing for NP practice practicum that finishes the master's degree is not the requirement for us, but the expectation that students will assemble their Eportfolio as the year progresses. So the assignments that are designed in the course are all like scripted from the Nursing Council guidelines for applicants. So just to clarify the difference between applying for registration as a nurse practitioner and a continuing competence portfolio is that the Nursing Council guidelines have a different layout requirement. So it's in sections. It's all, the guidelines are quite clear. So it's not just a case of copying the files for MP competencies. It's about a tailor-made collection of that's a template that the students then use. And you know, the great thing for people like Liz and me is that we've audited MP portfolios for many years, and you know, they get couriered to you as these huge tomes, you know, and you know, the big heart sink has been two tomes from one applicant. So the other side of that for applicants has been that it's just been such a big mystery, this enormous task, and they've all heard from previous years about what a drama it is to get a portfolio together, and then when they actually see it as the template in Nurseportfolio, they go, okay, I now see what I have to do. So it's made a really big difference for us. And how I kicked this off is, if you know me, you know that you kind of get hit up for stuff along the way. And if you're a past student of mine, then, you know, just watch out. Because so last year I worked with a student who had finished the prescribing practicum, very keen to get a portfolio in, and I piloted her with our Massey institution Eportfolio system, and she went to council with that Eportfolio. I had an agreement with council that we would just pilot her. Council were very pleased with the result, and after just that one pilot person, they said, okay, nationally we'll accept Eportfolio. So here's you, Maureen, and Amanda. This year, with the College of Nurses moving to host Nurseportfolio, I really felt that it was more appropriate to have nurse practitioners and their portfolio in a professional context rather than held in a university context, because they would graduate from us and finish as students, and now they needed to go on and be professionals as MPs. So I felt much more comfortable about the whole portfolio being with the college, and of course NPNZ is a subsidiary of the College of Nurses as well, and that's really the organisation they need to be belonging to. And what I'm particularly grateful for is that the College Board were very responsive to my requests to allow students to use the platform even if they weren't a college member. Now, you know, there has to be a win-win here. I'm expecting that those students will go on and become college members and members of NPNZ, although they don't have to. But, you know. That's been a really wonderful thing, I have to say, because I've got 34 who have got access to Nurseportfolio at the moment, and I think only 4 are college members, so that's a cost that the college is bearing. So thank you, Liz, board member. That one. So what have we got? 34 students, not all of them, just by the way, if you're interested in the nurse practitioner training program, we've only got 10 students who are funded via that particular route, but it's still the same course. There's this tailored collection with MP applicant guidelines incorporated throughout. So again, it's copy-paste out of the guidelines from Nursing Council, but they're on the page that it needs to be. And I'll show you a portfolio shortly, and you'll see what I mean. As I've said, all of the course assessments, the case studies, the clinical notes, the description of practice, area of practice, all of those assignments that the students do just drop into to the portfolio. And the way that it's shared with others. So Kristina has talked about the privacy aspects of it, how students share their work with whoever is via a secret URL. Very easy to just generate a secret URL and then send it to us so we can review their portfolio, and also to whoever they are asking to verify their evidence. So we send that URL, and then that person can just click the URL, write a comment at the bottom of the page that says that they verify the evidence that's submitted there. So it's very straightforward. Now I'm just going to see if I can show you. So in the same way that last year, same way that last year I hit up a previous student, done the same again this year to trial it with Nurseportfolio. And this is Nicola Elder, if you happen to know her, and she knows that I'm going to be doing this. She'll know stuff. Oh, here we go.
Should be connected.
Just continue.
So Nicola is kind of on her way with her portfolio. She's quite a good person to show you because there's not a lot of personal stuff yet there that's hers. And here I'm still talking.
Yep.
Yeah.
Any minute now.
Any minute now.
You might need to just carry on.
Maybe if we copy paste it into the.
No, there's no internet.
Keep talking, she says.
Yeah.
What else do I have to say? I do want to show it to you because I think you'll see that it's good. I think you'll get how demystified the whole thing is. What I'm going to tell you about is
Do you want me to get the IT person in?
that.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to
We'll
go.
show it at the end. What students have said about this so far is that they're extremely grateful that it's been set up for them, because it's almost like it's been it's like writing a thesis, really, doing a portfolio, and these awful stories of past applicants that have gone ahead of them, those stories live on in the minds of current students. So to see it also easily laid out has them just go, oh, okay, now I know what I have to do. So they're really quite wild about how brilliant the site is. I don't think it's wild, but they seem to think so. And that it's easy and it's transparent. So there are some little kind of technical things that they have to get their heads around, like they need to know what the trash can means and how you edit a particular section. But once they get the idea of uploading files and that they can change things around, it's quite straightforward. Okay.
Let's leave that to the end.
All right, we'll leave it to the end. So I guess what's next is the connection with the college and NPNZ, and that leads me to Liz, because it's all very well for my students and their access, but we really need to be thinking about how we make it more accessible to all nurses who need to use it.
Okay.
Liz.
Technologically challenged. So if you could just read that
I just want to
one.
remind you,
What?
when we won the award, the same thing happened.
What award?
The awards that we won from the Mahara.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
That is fine now. Yeah, thank you.
Same sort of issue.
Yeah, so
So I've done it.
yeah, thank you so much. So just looking at what's next, we will be changing the, because you're aware that the nurse practitioner competencies have shifted, so we've updated those and we're going to keep an eye on those. For the college membership, we would like to have what we're doing for Massey University publicly available, so that people who are not going through that course can access it and submit their nurse practitioner portfolios online. And from the college perspective, we're just going to keep up to date, make any collections that we need to, make sure that registered nurses and nurse practitioners have got easy to maintain portfolios, and we are very responsive. If somebody contacts us, we get back to them that day. And we would like to create more institutions, so if any of you have got organisations that think might like to do this, it's extremely cost effective. All the work's been done, it's all set up for you, and it's extremely cheap. So if you are interested in it, do contact the college. And we will be more than happy to talk to you about your needs. Any questions?
I was just thinking, talking about, because they're discussing making all of PDRP national, for everybody the same for next year, or hoping to be. It would actually be really good, because especially if we're all doing the same formatting, you know, and having basically the same stuff on it for everyone.
Yeah, and certainly PDRP would be really easy to set up, and for an organisation you could just do, well, we've already got competent, but you could set it up as per the document, competent provisions and expert, senior nurse.
Yeah.
We just have to
Do
get
whatever.
everybody to agree nationally on the...
Well, we have on the framework.
On the framework,
On the framework, we've agreed that. It's really just who's going to do that. And
But nurse execs have endorsed it, so we should push.
Yeah, so absolutely, yes. Any other questions for Jill, Kristina, and myself?
How many members have you got so far, did you say? How many people are doing other people?
Well, it depends. So we've got 4 institutions. So it depends. I don't know what Massey, I think it's about 35 people. 35. There's about 200-300 in the college, and there's another institution as well that's got a few in. So I can't give you exact numbers. So, but it just clicks up slowly, and people join in. And portfolios, you know, you don't measure this on who's completed a portfolio. You just people can complete portfolios when they have to. They come and go. They don't do it. There's not that many people who are doing it because they want to.
And even students. So I've had e-portfolios with undergraduate students in third year, and it's the same experience with postgraduate students who you would think would be more responsible. But the pattern is always fantastic use. This is great. The deadline is out here, and the use drops off immediately as soon as you're out of their face, and then no use, and then 3 weeks before it's due. Frantic effort. That's how it is.
That's why there's a PDRP.
Thank you very much for taking the time to present with us today.